Iran protests. Teen girl Sonia Sharifi, abducted, and tortured, by Iranian forces for second time.
Here's a summary of the article.
A teenage girl who cheered for victory after being released from Iranian detention says she has been abducted and beaten by the regime for a second time. The image of protester Sonia Sharifi standing on top of a car with her hands in the air became a symbol of defiance in the face of an increasingly violent crackdown against demonstrations sweeping Iran in December last year. Now, 8 months on, Sonia has shared an image of a head wound she says she suffered at the hands of Iranian security forces when they detained her again. Protesting against the regime as publicly as Sonia has done can be dangerous. The attack on Sonia comes about a month before the one-year anniversary of the death of Mahsa Amini, the Kurdish Iranian woman who died in police custody, triggering a huge protest movement. As the anniversary nears, US-based Iranian news channel Iran International reports that Iran's security agencies have begun to intimidate and threaten protesters and those linked to them in a bid to discourage people from taking to the streets. This is despite an independent international fact-finding mission on the Islamic Republic of Iran urging the Iranian government to end its continuing crackdown on peaceful protesters, in a report submitted in July.
This post received a score of 5,100, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I'm sure if we torture them again, it will totally quell the civil unrest. If it doesn't, maybe 3 times? Running out of plays here.
The torture will continue until morale improves.
I mean, this actually works. They basically beat the population back into submission. Those protests were no joke, either. Gotta hand it to the Iranian people, they are very willing to risk and sacrifice for freedom.
The thing is, what are they going to do if the protests are ignored? Because that seems to be what is happening here. It doesn't matter if we think the protests are impressive if the ruling class doesn't make any changes.
Unfortunately, it looks like nothing will change without an actual civil war.
Imagine being that scared of a teen girl that you have to resort to torture. Bunch of losers.
I've given up hope for that region.
Don't know, watching Russia crash and burn giving me ideas.
Filthy bastards have destroyed one of the most beautiful countries, people, and its culture. I hope they burn in hell.
Wasn't it destroyed during the Islamic Revolution in the 70s? Still, same bunch of bastards though.
I mean, let's not romanticize the Shah's regime either. It was a bunch of theocratic bastards replacing a bunch of autocratic bastards.
I feel so sad for these girls. Their world must have been shattered, having all their rights taken from them in a day. And now fighting against a whole regime by themselves must have felt so difficult, lonely, and hopeless. Sad face.
Luckily this will sort itself out. An entire unborn generation who won't enforce the status quo. They're ensuring the death of their own culture by making their women the enemy. It's like yeast drowning in its own alcohol.
Small issue with your romantic notion. The government has all the guns and the populace is unarmed. Civil unrest only works if you have qualms about mowing people down. They clearly don't. They are already sanctioned to hell and back, and China and India don't care. It's been 3 to 5 unborn generations since the 70s, depending on your definition of a generation. I am not saying it won't ever happen, but it's hardly inevitable.
The most trash and brutal government.
Maybe not the worst. Top 5 worst countries, probably. Definitely top 10.
I'd love to see a top 10 list.
Iran, North Korea, Myanmar Junta, Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, Afghanistan, South Sudan and Eritrea should easily make it. I guess the last spot is somewhat debatable if I didn't forget someone.
Yemen should probably be on that list since they're in the bottom 10 on the Human Development Index. They've got one of the most corrupt governments in the entire region, and that's saying something. And they've been in a state of civil war since 2012, partially due to people getting fed up with the aforementioned corruption.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.